friends, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be rereading books that I read in my childhood. This is more specifically from elementary school because I have another video that's going to come out eventually of books I read in high school, but this is more of elementary, middle school time. I currently have 3 books in mind. These are books that I have read multiple times or that just stood out to me that I remember reading when I was a kid. The first one is Gregor the Overlander, and this is written by Suzanne Collins, who also wrote The Hunger Games. I don't know if it came out before or after, but I think it's geared more towards younger kids. Then I'm going to read A Wrinkle in Time, and then A Series of Unfortunate Events. Gregor the Overlander and A Series of Unfortunate Events I've read multiple times over. I kind of found a book and clung to it and would just reread it until I found something else that I enjoyed. A Wrinkle in Time I got as a gift one year on Easter, and I honestly think I read it once, but for whatever reason it kind of sticks out in my mind as something that I read as a kid. So as of right now, that's the plan, and if anything changes, obviously you'll see in the video, but I really hope you enjoy. Also, real quick, before we get too far into the video, I wanted to apologize for the change in video quality sporadically throughout the video. At the time I'm filming this clip, which is the intro, and then another one later, I'm on my new camera. I got my old one broke. I got a new one, so this is probably the best quality I've had. I filmed some on my phone, I filmed some on my old camera, I filmed some on my really old camera that has bad quality, so I apologize for that, but I just want to give you a heads up. Alright, so I am almost a quarter of the way through Gregor the Overlander, and I'm at the part where Gregor and his sister Boots are down in the Underland, and they just took their baths, and they're kind of meeting everybody. They went to dinner and kind of figuring out what's going on. Gregor, at this point, is still looking for a way to escape with his sister back to New York, but at the same time, kind of seems like he wants to stay down there and kind of like scope it out and see what's going on. So not much has been going on right now besides the introduction of the Underlanders. I'm still really enjoying this book. I read it a lot as a kid, and now that I'm reading it as an adult, I'm kind of thinking that I liked it so much because I could relate to the character when it comes to childhood trauma, I guess. But I'm really excited to be reading it again. I'm super happy that I found it on audio, but I had planned on filming this video eventually. I just didn't know when, and when I was scrolling through Libby this morning, I saw it on there, and so decided to start filming this video. So I will update you all again in a little bit. Alright, so I am now 55% through with Gregor the Overlander. Stuff is finally starting to happen. They are going around right now and getting together all the people that are necessary to fulfill the prophecy. The bats and the roaches and the spiders. He just got to where the spiders are because he ran away when rats attacked them while they were going to go to the spiders. So that's where I'm at. I'm still enjoying it. I guess that's really all I can say. I just wanted to update y'all real quick before my appointment. I'm on my way to a dentist appointment right now to get one of my wisdom teeth pulled, so I don't know how well I'm going to be able to talk afterwards to update y'all. So I will probably be back at the end of the book. Alright, good morning guys. I have finished Gregor the Overlander, and I wanted to give you all a little review of it. I gave it 3 stars, and not because it was bad or anything. I just kind of have a hard time scaling books that are meant for children. I had the same issue with Harry Potter. Like, the first few books were just hard for me to get through because they're juvenile, obviously. So it wasn't a bad book. I enjoyed it as an adult. I enjoyed it as a kid. It is a series, and I don't think I'm going to continue with the series just because, like, at this current point, it's not something I'm interested in continuing with, but that doesn't discredit the fact that I enjoyed the book. I didn't remember as much as I thought I did when it comes to that book. I knew like kind of the general premise, but not much of it. I had read more in the series in elementary school. I don't think I ever finished, but I know that I read more of it. I think probably the second book, and that was it. I think it's a trilogy. I knew there was bats. I knew there were giant cockroaches and giant rats and people with silver hair and purple eyes. I just didn't remember the prophecy and that they were going to find his dad and all the other plot points that happened in the books. Overall, not a bad reading experience. I did listen to it on audiobook just because I did have a copy of it, which I gave to one of my friend's kids to read a while back, but the audiobook was great too. That's really all I have to say about that. So now I am going to read A Wrinkle in Time. So I just wanted to check in with y'all about the next book that I read, which was A Wrinkle in Time, and I did DNF this book. On the way to the hospital this last time I drove, so I tried to listen to A Wrinkle in Time, and honestly I'm DNFing it because it's just not the vibe. So I got maybe 40% into it and realized that it just wasn't for me. There's some undertones in the book and just some other stuff that I really don't relate to and don't really care to read about. So besides the fact that it just got kind of weird, I decided to not finish it. That's 2 books down. I have one more book in mind, but I don't know if I'm going to end up finding another to replace A Wrinkle in Time or if I'm just going to be good with the DNF. But the next book I'm going to be reading is A Series of Unfortunate Events. It's a super short book, so I don't know how many check-ins I'll have with y'all for that. But that is about it for right now. Okay, so it's been several weeks probably since my last update. After A Wrinkle in Time kind of flopped, I wasn't reading very much. I did my 24-hour reading vlog and then it kind of stopped for a little bit. So we're back, we're reading. And the last book I'm going to read is A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. I do have the entire series, but I've never read the entire series. But for the sake of this video, I think I'm only going to read the first one and may at some point have another reading vlog where I try to read the whole thing. I loved this book. I've read this book a bajillion times. It was short, it was easy to read, and I was obsessed with it. I got the DVD when the movie came out. The only thing I don't think I've watched is the TV show. But, I mean, nothing can beat Jim Carrey. Anyways, so I'm probably going to finish this today, like read it right now. And I will check in with y'all. This is probably the one I'm the most excited for, though. I love these books. Alright, so it is 3:30 and I am halfway done with A Series of Unfortunate Events. I tabbed a couple things just because I wanted to talk about them. I, first of all, love this book and I'm enjoying it just as much as I did when I was a kid. But I wanted to mention a couple things that I liked that I kind of forgot about. Whenever he writes like big words or words that might be confusing to the reader, he always gives like his own description of them. So this one is, occasionally their parents gave them permission to take a rickety trolley. The word rickety, you probably know, here means unsteady or likely to collapse. I think that's awesome because it probably helped me a lot as a kid, and sometimes his definitions are a little funny. And then another thing that I really like is Sunny, the youngest kid. She can't talk yet, so she just says random things, and then he always gives like a possible meaning of what she means. So it says, for instance, this morning she was saying gack over and over, which probably meant, look at that mysterious figure emerging from the fog. And I don't know why, that just, it tickles me. I just think it's so funny. And then on like kind of a sad side, which this really makes me want to look up Lemony Snicket because homeboy got some issues. But like there's one part that says, you and I, of course, would never do this to any of our grieving acquaintances, but it is a sad truth in life that when someone has lost a loved one, friends sometimes avoid the person just when the presence of friends is most needed. So that was kind of depressing. And then there was also this one. I'm sure you, in your life, have occasionally wished to be raised by different people than the ones who are raising you, but knew in your heart that the chances of this were very slim. And it just, like, as a kid, I probably didn't pick up on those really at all. But as an adult reading them, it's kind of deep. Oh, I think I skipped one. Hold on. Oh, yes, this one. So unless you have been very, very lucky, you know that a good long session of weeping can often make you feel better, even if your circumstances have not changed one bit. Same. It's going really well. I think, honestly, I think I'm gonna give this 5 stars. Like, it's written very simply. It's easy to read, especially for children, and obviously it's geared towards children, but I feel like it's just as enjoyable as an adult. So I'm gonna finish this up and then I'll see y'all in a little bit. Alright, so it's a little bit later. I have finished the book and I do give it 5 stars. I still enjoyed this just as much as an adult than I did as a kid. Some other things I noticed throughout reading is the book is self-aware. So like, if you're interested in stories with happy endings, you'd be better off reading some other book. In this book, not only is there no happy ending, there's no happy beginning and very few happy things in the middle. And then there's a couple other things, like Klaus was reading and it says he found himself reading the same sentence over and over. He found himself reading the same, like over. It prints it multiple times so that you feel kind of crazy. Another sad thing. In my room, for instance, I have gathered a collection of objects that are important to me, including a dusty accordion on which I can play a few sad songs, a large bundle of notes on the activities of the Baudelaire. Every time I read that, I think I'm reading it wrong. It's Baudelaire. Anywho. Orphans, and a blurry photograph taken a very long time ago of a woman whose name is Beatrice. These are items that are precious and dear to me, and I'm pretty sure the book is dedicated to Beatrice. To Beatrice, darling, dearest, dead. That's a little bit depressing. And then, okay. This, for being a children's book, there's a lot of like adult kind of themes and stuff in here. Number one, the fact that Count Olaf is trying to marry a 14-year-old. And I get like, for the story, you know, whatever, but it's a little bit interesting if you ask me. And then there's a scene where they're trying to like find a way out of her having to marry him, and Klaus is reading and said, "If we were polygamists," Klaus said, "Count Olaf's marriage plan wouldn't work." "What are polygamists?" Violet asked. "Polygamists are people who marry more than one person." I just think that's funny because as a child I probably wouldn't have thought of that at all, or like known what it meant. So it's just kind of funny seeing these more like mature topics being addressed and then like brushed over, because none of the adults in this book believe that Count Olaf is bad and that he's taking advantage of the kids and whatever. But none of these are negative things in my eyes. I'm bringing up points that I've noticed reading this. Yeah, so 5 stars. So that concludes this video. I'm overall satisfied with the books that I read. I know I had a 3-star, but it wasn't that it was bad. It was just harder to read as an adult. And I had a DNF and then a 5-star. But either way, it was fun to kind of jump back into the worlds that I grew up in. I definitely plan on doing another video over books that I read in high school that I really enjoyed, because I have most of them here and I think that I'll enjoy them a little bit more than these. But yeah, so that was fun. If you'll have any recommendations for videos or any criticism or anything you'd like to share, please leave it in the comments. And otherwise, I will see you all next time. Bye guys.